Hello folks, welcome to the bye week. It's been a while since I've done a full roster review, so I thought I'd go ahead and do that. This is probably going to be a little long-ish, and like I said, I'm going to go through faction by faction, so it's going to be the whole 9 yards. Just to show where I am, actually no, we don't need to do that. As you can see, I'm... Oh, jeez. Yeah, I already did that. I am 9.1 million galactic power. I have spent money. I bought the hyperdrive. I frequently, but not always, buy the Conquest Pass. And every now and then, when I'm pushing really hard on a GL, I'll buy a pack or something here or there. So I have spent far more on this game than any rational person would spend, but I am by no means a whale. So let's okay, so we've got the favorites up here. Iden is almost done. BT1 and Zed still have a ways to go, but they are ready for Gear 12 once I get their stars all the way up. Sortie, we're slow farming. Eighth Brother, we're slow farming. So nothing too spectacular there. GLs, it's been like this for a while. They're all Relic 7 except for Vader, who's Relic 8. He's one of my few optional Relic 8s. I wouldn't mind running all of them up to 8 or 9, but I just... I don't have the... I can't afford it, as it were. So, let's pull up 501st. This has not changed in a long, long time. These guys are all the same as they've been for... geez, ages. Ever since I got Vader, basically. These Relic level... Fives was Relic 7, Arc and Echo were Relic 5 along with Rex. And Skywalker was 7, and then they went up because Lord Vader required it. Ahsoka Tano was, I think, Relic 1 for a while, but now she's Relic 3, but that's it. There's nothing too special here. Rex... That is not what I wanted to look at. Rex, maybe I could run him up to 7 for territory battles, but for the most part I haven't bothered. He's got a lot of speed though, so I got that going for him. Ahsoka will probably end up going higher when I go for Kenobi, because I think she needs to be higher, but other than that there's no real plan to work on them. Bad Batch, just as it's always been, ever since Vader. Five across the board. I wouldn't mind running Omega up to Relic 5, but I have no rush to do so. Bounty Hunters. There are a lot of them these days. So, Fett is Relic 8 because he has to be. I got Kyrgyzstan and Bosch up to level 7 for the Jabba team. Aura Singh is Relic 7 instead of Relic 6 because of territory wars. And everybody else is about the same. Mando and Greef are up to Relic 3 just so I can use at least a baseline Datacron with them. Cad Bane I ran up to Relic 5 for the Jabba team. In the arena, I've been experimenting with using Cad Bane as the 5th on the Jabba team because of all the dodges that he gets when the contract's activated. He's not great, but it works okay. It may do weird things to my Executor fleet, but I don't leave it on defense, so I suppose it's not going to make much of a difference. Jango is still only Gear 12. When I do Kenobi, he'll run up, but I wouldn't mind running him up otherwise, just other priorities. And Dad Bod is not going anywhere anytime soon. What is this? No, I'm not going to give it to him. I don't use him. I might use him later, but he is far from being a priority. Clones, again. Cody and Sergeant are 12. Sergeant was run up to 12 quite a while ago for his ship. Cody was run up to 12 just because doesn't cost much to do it. Both of them will go higher when I'd go for Kenobi, obviously. Droids, there's a lot. It's a mess. Chupio is Relic 7 for the Datacron. Everyone else has largely been here for quite some time. I would love to run a lot of these up. HK, T3, B2. I'd love to get all of them higher. Probe Droid is Gear 12 because I'm leaning towards using him with Afra, or using it. L3 I'd love to have higher. Dark Trooper I would love to have higher, but again, priorities. IG-11, same thing, priorities. 86, nobody cares about him. He is unlikely to go anywhere, because while he can work with Afra, why would you bother? Empire. Wow, there's a lot in Empire. But again, most of these guys are at this level because they have to be. Royal Guard ran up to 7 because if you have Lord Vader, you want at least a Relic 7 Royal Guard. He is a monster. You know, 108,000 health, 72,000 protection. All that protection goes into his health under Vader, plus he is gaining a percentage of the leader's health. He doubles his health. That's why you want him on health and not protection. So he is just a massive brick wall. Again, if you have Lord Vader, don't leave Royal Guard at Relic 3 or Relic 5, because it's not going to cut it. Moff Gideon, I would love to run him up, if for nothing else, then so I can use Datacrons with the Veer's team, but just have other priorities. Range Trooper I ran up to Relic 3, so that in 3v3, when it's Veer's Piet range, I can at least use a low-level Datacron. And then all these guys, yeah, I'd like to get Death Trooper up for Iden. I'd love to get Stormtrooper up. Snow Trooper I just put to Gear 12. He'd been Gear 11 for the longest time. He goes with Iden, so that will help. Seventh Sister is ready to promote. Those shards would have just been from... They were giving the bonus shards for when you were doing stuff, so that's all that is. What's this? 5% more damage, increased to 10%. Yeah, we can go ahead and give that. Yeah. And that's it. And only 58 Third Sister. It's slow going. Ewoks. Ewoks haven't changed since C-3PO came out. I have no intention on running any of them up. You know, it might be worth it for conquest and challenges, but I don't think the cost of doing so is worth. I don't think I'll ever recoup those costs. Just like running Inquisitors up to Relic 7 just for the assault battle, I don't think that's worth it. You'll never get that back. But I will be running them up eventually. First Order. Largely haven't changed since I got Kyle. So there's that. I wouldn't mind Sith Trooper higher. I wouldn't mind Fox higher. I wouldn't mind running Special Forces and TIE Pilot up to Relic 5. But yeah, there's no plans to do too much with them. Galactic Republic, again, not too much change. So my Kenobi is only Relic 5 because I haven't gone for General Kenobi. So he is... Man. For where the game is now, he's a very weak Kenobi. Which is a weird thing to say. I mean, when Kenobi came out, you know, a Kenobi at that power level would be insane. But right now, he's just kind of a wimp. Kiramundi is Relic 3. He was Relic 1 for the longest time. I ran him up to 3. There was a while where I was taking all my Relic 1s and 2s, or most of them, and bringing them up to 3. Again, in theory, it's for a Datacron, but he pretty much lives with Qui-Gon Jinn, so he's not getting a Datacron anyway. Eventually, you know, Qui-Gon and Ayla will go up, and Mace, maybe Plo, I don't remember. I wouldn't mind having a high relic Ayla. I like Ayla. I think she's underrated. Her kit... The issue with Ayla is being support. That is not what I wanted. Being support, her damage isn't great. She's physical. So, being support, that damage isn't going to do too much anyway. It's more for the stun on crit. That's why I want to get her higher, is because I think she'd be really good for control, but not going to pull that off with Gear 12. So running her up for Kenobi, I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to die. Man, I wish he was better. He's a very old kit. But, I mean, you know, that counter chance, I mean, he could be so good, but he's not, because it's an old kit. Jedi Consular, nobody cares about. Kit, nobody cares about. Chewie, Eth, Guardian, nobody cares about any of those. Geos, they have been like this pretty much forever. Once I got the Brood Alpha and was able to, I ran him up to Relics. I'm not sure why I stopped at 4. Probably to avoid using these guys. The flawed signal data. Because you can get them up to 4 without using any of it. So that's probably why I stopped at 4. I wouldn't mind getting them all relicked, or at the very least getting Sunfac relicked, but yeah, I'm not planning on doing too much with them. I may eventually for Territory Wars, but they are not a priority right now. Neither is Poggle's Omicron. It's a really good Omicron. 20% health, protection, offense, tenacity, and speed for each Genosian ally. So 100% for all of that, and 50 speed. Wait, what is that? Is that... Okay, it's Territory War, so you don't have to worry about it for GAC. It could be really nice for Territory Wars, but... yeah, we're not... I have no plans on applying it. Hut Cartel! Basically what I needed for Jabba, except Kyrgyzstan, Bush, and Skando. I ran all of them up to 7. I'd like to run all of them up to 8 and Kyrgyzstan to 9, but yeah, that's going to have to wait. Gamorrean Guard I ran up to 5 because he was the 5th for a while, and I needed to because I had the Jabba-Cron. But for right now, it's been Cad Bane. Mob Enforcer, unfortunately, is just still no good, even with the rework. Remnant we've gone over. I'd love to get all of them up, but that's not happening anytime soon. If I had to choose, I would say Dark Trooper, then Gideon, then Death. No. Dark, Gideon, Storm, Death. That's probably the order I'd do it. It's not going to be much to say here. You know, a lot of these gold guys down, you know, Death, Magma, Storm, and Snow, I all run with Iden. I'd like to run all of them up. I like Magma Trooper. He's a little underrated. Not greatly underrated. He's not a game-breaking character, but there was some fun stuff you could do with him back in the day when the Sith raid was difficult. Inquisitorius, they are just awful. But we have Second Sister and Ninth Sister at 7 stars. We're working on Eighth Brother. We were getting bonus shards for him, so that sped him up a little bit, but he is the poor cousin. There are days where I don't raise him at all because I don't want to spend another 50 crystals. But yeah, all these guys, yeah, eventually they'll all be Relic 7, and Grand Inquisitor will be Relic 7. But that day is not today. That's going to be a while. We're going to slow farm them for now. Jawa. Okay, I'm back from the sneeze. Jawas. I like Jawas. They're fun. I would love to have them all say... Whoops, one moment. I guess it's dusty down here. I keep sneezing. Jawas, I'd love to have them all around Relic 5 or so, but that's not happening anytime soon. I could run Dacha, but I don't care. Scav and Nebbit are probably the most important ones to get up, just because you want Scavenger to survive to throw out the detonators. Yeah, and Relic 3 because of... Who was it? Jabba? Did Jabba require him, or did... Jabba or Vader? Probably Jabba. Jedi. There are a lot of Jedi, but we've largely gone over all of them. I don't think there's much that we need to touch on. I wouldn't mind Bastila, Jolie, and Revan all being higher. I wouldn't mind Hermit Yoda being higher for territory wars, not for anything else, because he doesn't need relic levels, you know. You could run him at gear 10 for the most part, because he's generally not getting hit. Yeah, I'd love to run the Old Republic trio up. And then, yeah, just a bunch of rejects. Mandos. This is a team that I would love to put more effort into, but I just keep having more important things to worry about. I'd love to have Maul higher. He does okay at Relic 5, but, you know, he'd just be doing more damage if I had him higher. Both Mandos are 3 because, again, Datacrons. Wouldn't mind having them at 5, just for better Datacrons and for whichever one has the ship. But that works well enough. These two nobody cares about. Armor, I really should get higher. Candor, you know, all of these for a Maul Mandos team. But, yeah, I've got way more important things to worry about. And occasionally I'll use them for cleanup or for odd things, and they'll work okay just because Maul's able to carry them. Nightsisters, one of my favorite factions in the game. I have liked Nightsisters for a long time. Even before the rework, which made them much, much better. So Asajj is Relic 8 for territory wars for a platoon, or territory battles for a platoon. Daka is 7 because she is a frickin' brick wall. I mean, at these relic levels, this team is actually really pretty good. You know, about 100,000 health, 64 damage, 75 special. The dodge chance is just really kind of bonkers. Daka is 148,000 health. Plus whatever is giving her health. She is just super thick. I'm not sure what her damage is. Armor. 55% armor. Yeah. So, yeah. Daka's great at Relic 7. Real thick wall, and after a couple revives, just takes a lot of work to drop her. Mother Talzin at Relic 5, I'd like to have her higher, if I'm being honest. And yes, I realize that I've got her with an offense set. Very little speed, but she can gain turn meter. I wouldn't mind her speed being higher. Especially since 47 is pretty garbage. But she's a special offense, so she can hit pretty hard. That being said... Oh, she's got a double offense. Let's see here. I think these are all speed, yeah. So offense, offense, offense. 10 speed. .13 speed, offense. Sign that. And then down here we've got potency, 10 speed. 110 offense isn't bad, but I think the 135 is going to be more valuable. Nope, doesn't get speed on that one. So let's see. 8 more speed. A little bit more protection. Lost a little potency, but that's not too bad. Special offense is up by 20 some. Yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, yeah, I like Mother Talzin. I probably should just switch her to a straight speed set. Because at this point, yes, she can hit hard, but she's not cutting it as an offensive character. That being said, when you've got the zealous ambition and conquest, she can really dish out the hurtin'. Talia is Relic 7 for platoons. Not a great character. And most people use spirit, but I think that's pointless, and I'll tell you why. First of all, when you're using them to counter things like Grievous or what have you, Water of Life is very valuable because it dispels all debuffs. 50% health gain, 30% turn meter. That's a really useful skill. And yes, Spirit can stun every now and then and can hit awfully hard, but I don't need Spirit to hit hard because I've got Asajj. And no matter how hard the Spirit is hitting, you know, Asajj is gaining 15% offense anytime someone's defeated. So Asajj is ramping way more than the Spirit's going to. The Spirit doesn't ramp at all. So Asajj is very quickly going to surpass the damage output of the Spirit. Plus, Asajj can dispel buffs, heal, do an AoE, and that's not even getting into the Omicron. So anything the spirit can do, Asajj can do better. So and she can stun on basic, as opposed to on a special. So I find that Talia is far more useful for that Water of Life. Zombie. I would like to make Zombie Relic 7. I would like that very much. But Zombie is going to have to wait. I do have other priorities. I understand the whole paper zombie thing, but I still like having a very chunky zombie that takes a lot to whittle through. The ramping is nice, but if they can kill the zombie twice, it's not doing anything. Aside from when the AI is being dumb. Acolyte. Can you believe she used to be a healer? No, seriously. Back before the Nightsister rework, so before Spirit, Zombie, and Mother Talzin were introduced, she was a healer. Because, as near as I could tell, because of sacrificial magics. Because she can dispel debuffs. Yeah, so they made her an attacker, and she is actually really good. I got a lot of mileage out of her in the Sith raid back in the day. She can hit very, very hard. Especially, well, if you've played the new Territory War, you know just how hard she can hit. Because when she stealths, she has 50% offense. And she gives herself stealth. Oh, and if she already has stealth, it does double damage. So we're taking this 4,800, we're adding 50% to it, so now it's 7,200, and then we're doubling it, so it's 14,400. Yeah, she can hit super hard. I would love to have her Relic 7. The biggest problem with Nightsister Acolyte is she doesn't have a home. Because, by and large, you know, you gotta... These are the 5 I'm running. You know, I'm not taking out Daka. I'm not taking out Mother Talzin. I'm not taking out Asajj. I'm certainly not taking out Zombie. So, you know, Acolyte or Talia. Well... The things against Nightsister Spirit also apply to Acolyte, although the Acolyte... I think if they were both Relic 7, I think the Acolyte would do more damage. Asajj is still going to beat him. So, Nightsister Acolyte in my teams often ends up under an OG Maul with his Zeta, Darth Maul, because he's doing all that stealth stuff, and she stealths. So she's often a plug-and-play character. If I've got her for offense, she'll go on a cleanup team to dish out some damage. When we did Darkside Geo, in Phase 2, there was that fight that was Asajj and Dooku. And so Asajj was out of the picture, so what I would do is I would still run a Nightsister team, and I'd put Acolyte in, and she more than carried her own weight. Obviously, I am eagerly awaiting Marin. I really want to see what she does. She's supposed to be a Nightsister lifter. She will probably replace Talia. I'm curious as to if she's got a leadership or not. I hope she doesn't, if I'm being honest. I hope that she is not a leader unit, so we can keep using Talia. Because, I mean... Asajj, Daka, Talzin, and Talia are all leaders. Talia's leader is pretty garbage, but she is a leader. Nightsister Nimbleness. I used to use it. You know, evasion. And recover, and a chance to recover health when you evade. Yeah, it's an ancient leadership, and it's kind of garbage. But yeah, all 4 of these have leaders. Daka's is actually worth using sometimes. Sometimes on defense, you know, that 50% health and defense with Daka's Serve Again and with Asajj's Omicron can make Daka just a monster. Spirit I've gone over, Initiate is garbage. Initiate was what I used back in the old cheese team for Phase 3, where you had where you were doing the thing with Jedi Knight Anakin, taking a million turns because she'd die and come back. But I'm waiting for Marin. I'm hoping she doesn't have a leadership. She really shouldn't, because she wasn't any kind of leader in the game. She was very much a follower. I would say support or healer. So they keep saying that she's going to be the lifter for the Nightsisters. Frankly, my Nightsisters don't need a lifter. My Nightsisters are awesome. But I'm curious as to what she's going to do. And we'll probably replace Talia. But who knows? I want to see what she does. And, you know, we almost have enough for 2 Nightsister teams. We'd need one more person besides Marin, and we'd have 2 Nightsister teams. And I would be so happy if we could have 2 Nightsister teams. You know, Marin with these guys or something. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. Even if she's not that great, I'm still going to run her up. Probably won't spend, you know, unless she's cat levels of lifter, or maybe even Maul levels of lifter. I'm not going to spend. I might spend if she's that good. If she's a Ben Solo level lifter, then no, I'm not going to spend. I will run her up as soon as I can, but it will still be free to play. And I'll run her into relics regardless. You know, even if she's like Talia level, I'll still run her into relics because I like my Nightsisters. I would love to have a full Relic 9 Nightsister team, even Initiate, but I'm not a Kraken. I don't have that much money. Old Republic. You can tell how much I like Nightsisters because I breezed through, you know, Empire, Jedi, Galactic Republic, clones, just flew through those and then spent like 10 minutes talking about frickin' Nightsisters. A faction nobody cares about but me. Old Republic, this faction has not moved much. T3 was run up to 12 for Grievous Nuke, back when I didn't have a better way to take care of a Darth Revan team. Juhani, I ran up to this because I was thinking about giving her the Omicron and using her in the team for the Starkiller team for Territory Wars, but I kind of decided I didn't care that much. I wouldn't mind running up Zalbar. Karth sucks. The Karth team is garbage. Quit putting it on defense, people. I know you got to put something there, but there's got to be something better than Karth that you can put on defense. Well, as you've seen, I almost always solo it with Malak for max banners. It's junk. And Sortie, we're slow farming. I don't know what I'm going to do with her, but we're slow farming. She is not nearly as fast as I would like her to be, though. I will say that much. Yeah, I've only got 101 speed on her, which is nowhere near enough, but it's a neat character. I got 3 stars to figure out what I'm going to do with her. Unfortunately, probably run her up to 7 and then just have her sit on the bench for a while I work on more important things. Phoenix has not changed. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Phoenix has changed. Phoenix was very stagnant for a long time. I unlocked Thrawn, and then I ignored them. I ran Sabine up to Gear 12 for... I was using her with Darth Vader on Phase 1 of the Sith raid, I think. Because it was Vader, Visas, Sabine, Tuscan Shaman Wampa. I think that was the team that I used. I think that was a Phase 1 team. So Sabine was run up to Gear 12 just so she lived a little longer. Hera is Relic 5 for Profundity. We all know that. The rest of these knuckleheads I ran up to 12 for ship reasons. Because when I'm running Profundity, I'm running the 2 Phoenix ships. I want them to be a little more survivable. Damage is less of an issue, honestly, because Dash and Han are doing all the damage. But I wanted the ships to have a little bit more survivability. I don't actually use the team anywhere. I don't put them on defense in territory or in GAC or anything like that because it's just a garbage team. I mean, even high relics, it's a bad team. Rebels, we got a whole bunch of them. We got a lot of them at relic levels that I have no interest of having them at, but I have to. Commander Luke, I wouldn't mind having him Relic 7. I will say that. And Chewbacca. I wouldn't mind having both of them at Relic 7. For GAC and for, well, at least Chewbacca for the ship, but also for territory battles and war, both of them. More so for territory battles because I can only use CLS on the first day. But those are probably promotions that are going to wait. Although, since I ran 3PO up for... Or since I ran 2PO up for the Datacron, I probably should run them up as well. But I mean, that's a crazy go-nuts team anyway. These guys are all have to be there. Kyle had to be there. Mothma. Cara Dune's 3, Pow's 3, and Scout is 3. That's for the Mon Mothma team. They are kind of fading in the background, but they do get holds every now and then. What may be happening is someone's running Wampa up against it, and the timing doesn't work right, and they just can't kill Cara Dune. That may be what it is. Rolo, yeah, all these other guys are just required to be where they are. Man, I miss the old Wet Wigs team. I still bust Wedge, Biggs, and some others out every now and then for cleanups. Fulcrum, I'd love to get her higher. It might be worth it later on. I don't know how things are going to shake out. Stormtrooper Han is... He hasn't quite reached the back burner, but he's on the back burner of the back burner for going into relics because of, what's her name? The Afra character. I don't remember who it is. Baze and Chirrut, yeah, whatever. Bodhi, whatever. Akbar, I really should run him up. Not so much for ground, but for his ship. I mean, at least he's Gear 12, but I really should run him up into low to mid relics for his ship. Likewise, Scarif. I mean, technically all the Phoenix guys I should relic, but, you know. Farm Boy... He's almost a meme character. You know? You know, like him and my namesake. They're almost meme characters. The thing is, if I gave him this Zeta, and potentially even this Omicron, but it's Territory Wars, but if I gave him this Zeta, and I tweaked his mods, and I ran him up, he could be a real nasty character. It's just... Generally, he ain't. Hoth Rebel Soldier sucks. Lobot sucks. Yeah, there we go. It's not going to be anything worth looking at here because they're all on the previous thing. My resistance is trash. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of these guys at gear 12. Some of it was from the original version of Finn's Zeta. That was one of the first times I was able to do really good climbing in arena. You know, it was Finn, Poe, BB-8, Resistance Trooper, and I think R2-D2, I think was who I used. And I used Trooper over Pilot because Pilot was the newbie trap. People said, oh no, you gotta use Pilot because outmaneuver. Outmaneuver does expose. It's 65% chance to do expose. But Resistance Trooper has the same chance of exposing on his basic. And this thing debuffs. Oh, and all but removes its cooldowns. And he gains turn meter on exposes, so he takes 1,000,000 turns. Resistance Trooper is a solid kit, especially for a non-Zeta nameless minion. Pilot's much worse. And yeah, also, hey, remember when Scav Ray had like a crazy high base speed? She was one of the faster characters in the game and had one of the most expensive levelings because it took all these cuffs and all these eyeballs, and yeah, it took 3 eyeballs and 2 cuffs, 2 expensive cuffs too, not just the generic cuffs. Yeah, she was crazy expensive. She sat at like gear 10 for the longest time because she was so expensive. Those were the days. Hodo was run up to 12 for tanking things after Poe lost his good Zeta and now has the kind of crappy one. Zori I can't farm. I mean, at least I got them all 7 stars. But I'm in no rush to get Rey, so chances are on this squad, BB-8's the one most likely to be given gear, because I think I can use him with Sortie. But beyond that, until Zori Bliss is farmable, I don't see anything changing, you know. The Resistance bros I might run up, but for the most part, I'm not doing much there. Rogue One, nothing to say. We've already covered them. Scoundrels. This is a huge catch-all. Most of these we've already covered in other areas. But again, so we're working on these 2. Nothing much to say there. They'll end up Relic 7. I might stop at Relic 5, actually. It depends. Hondo is Relic 7, partially for territory war or territory battles for platoons, but also because Hondo is just a great character. He's the second Thrawn. He's really, really good, and I've gotten a lot of mileage out of him. Fennec is really, really good. Guys, gear your Fennecs. And like I said, Aura. Before I started Jabba, and before I had to take her from 6 to 7 for platoons, my Aura was gear 11. Because the only reason she existed was for the leadership, because it was the fastest, basically the fastest contract. So if she died, it didn't matter. However, I found getting her to 6 and then to 7, she actually does hit pretty hard. I mean, she's no Fennec, and she's no Scando or Bosch, but she does hit pretty hard. So if you're looking at Jabba and thinking, I don't want to run Aura Singh up to Relic 6, it could be worse. Dash is 7, Newt is 7. All these guys, Grief is 3. Sana, that's who it was. So I might run... I'm thinking of running Stormtrooper Han up for the Sana team. Nest is 5. I wouldn't mind taking her higher, but there's no rush on that. Vandor wouldn't mind taking up higher, but again, no rush. Same with young Lando. Same with Young Han. If I was to run Kira higher, it would just be so that other people can use Datacrons. Otherwise, she's fine. She's largely just there for her leadership. Keel and 11, I would love to raise them up because they're really good characters, but I just have other things to focus on. And Chris Rock here. I know the one guy said on Reddit said Dave Chappelle, but I don't know. I kind of get Chris Rock vibes out of her. Always did, even when I was playing the game. I was like, I'm kind of like Chris Rock. This is an interesting kit. I do not understand her Omicron. I don't understand this Omicron. Because Wall and Grand Arena, okay. If all allies are dark side or light side unaligned force users, and there are no galactic legends. Alright. So, no GLs, only UFUs. All allies gain health and protection, immune, blah, 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 blah. Alright, okay. All unaligned Force user and Jedi allies. How is there a Jedi ally? This Omicron does not trigger if there are Jedi. Which means either whoever wrote this wasn't thinking, and whoever proofed it wasn't thinking, and whoever tested it wasn't thinking. So either this fell through pointlessly, which there is precedent for. How many of y'all have given Echo his Omega? OG Echo. You know, the one where he does something, he gets bonus damage or something if he's got crit damage up? The buff that in no reasonable comp he's ever going to have? The buff that almost nobody gives? I think BB-8 gives it when he does Illuminated Destiny because he gives everything. And maybe Bastila Shan gives it. But for the most part, nobody's giving crit damage up. And in no normal circumstances is he ever going to have crit damage up. So why would you spend an Omega? I mean, you know, I've got more Omegas than I can spend, but why would you spend an Omega on a power that's never going to activate? Why would you put this in here? Please tell me what I'm missing. The only thing I can think of is, I mean, setting aside the just brain-dead writing, there's only two ways that I can... Oh, no, there's only one way I can see it happening. Because it's not like Revan's nonsense where it's like if he's in the leader spot instead of the ally spot on his leadership skill. Because if you're doing just a light side battle, you know, if you're not simming it for some reason, you could have Revan come in. But this is Grand Arena only. So the only way I can see it triggering is if there is... Well, and the thing is, it's at the start of each encounter. And it really could just say at the start of the encounter, because it's Grand Arena. But anyway, so, you know, like, Starkiller goes unleashed, and, what's-his-nuts, the rebel fighter, he switches partway through the battle. You know, the thing activates, and his abilities gain new powers. But that doesn't apply here because it's only at the start. Which means either this is completely pointless verbiage in a kit, in a leadership that is already too long. I mean, this is Galactic Legend Jedi Knight Revan level. So the only way it can happen is if there is a character that is both a Jedi and an unaligned Force user, which goes completely against the whole point of unaligned Force user. They're not a member of the Jedi Order, so they're not a Jedi. And if they're a Jedi, they're not unaligned. I don't know what's going on there. It's driving me crazy. If you know, please, please, please tell me. I mean, the rest of this makes sense. You could have Adepts and Jedi mixed in the team. Yeah, fine. You know, whatever. It's dumb. You only want Ufus with her, but okay, that's fine. But this doesn't allow for Jedi. You know, if it said if all allies are this or Jedi, sure. But how is this Omicron going to trigger with the Jedi? I don't get it. And as you can tell, it really bothers me. I hate sloppy stuff like that. You know? Did nobody at any point say, hey, wait a minute? And then yeah, Dr. Afra. Yeah, we'll have her soon enough. Well, it's going to be a while. We're not going balls to the walls, but it'll be a while, but we'll eventually have her. So not much to talk about here. They've all been covered elsewhere. Trench, looks like I'm about halfway there. I'm really not sure where he's going to fit. And the problem is it's Admiral Trench. Admiral Trench. Admiral. Which means they probably already have another capital ship in the planning. So we're going to have a capital ship that's going to steal away half of Grievous's ship, half of Malevolence's ships. And it's going to be yet another capital ship that's probably going to require Trench to be Relic 9 and, you know, and all of the Genosians to be Relic 8 or something stupid like that. It's going to break everything because every time they release a capital ship, it's massively overpowered compared to everything else that came before it. And so it's going to be more or less necessary, require a whole ton of relics, unlocking at 4 stars, and it's going to break fleets even further, both from its power and from the fact that by and large they seem to only add about 2 or 3 ships before they add another capital ship, and they need to add somewhere around 20 ships so that you can field every capital ship with a full complement. And they keep making ships that require 2 or 3 pilots. Some of them make sense, you know, the Han's Millennium Falcon requiring Han and Chewie, that makes sense. The Emperor's shuttle requiring the Emperor and the Red Guard, not so much. I mean, I could see the argument for it, but a lot of these ships, they're just adding extra people just to fill them out. And they need to stop doing that. Like, the Grand Inquisitor's ship requires the Grand Inquisitor and the 5th brother. Why the 5th brother? And, you know, if you're wanting to do that, 9th sister and 2nd sister each had their own ship. 9th sisters is in the game. You know, why don't we do that? So, I'm guessing at some point ships are just gonna get even more screwed up. It may be a year, it may be a while, but ships are just gonna keep getting worse. We need so many more ships, and they have so little interest and giving us starfighters. They just want to do capital ships because they can get you to, you know, bring Hera up to Relic 5. Anyway, Sith, there's probably not too much to talk about here. Everyone's kind of where they are. I'd like to run Savage up. I'd like to run the Triumvirate up. I'd like to run Fallen up, and definitely Darth Revan, because Relic 3 is really kind of pathetic. At this point, Darth Revan is a control unit, not a damage unit, and that just seems wrong. And Malgus, one of these days I'll work on him. And the original Sith Trooper, I'd like to work on him because he's a really good tank, but priorities. The Sith Empire we just went over. Smuggler, I don't think there's really anything we need to talk about here. We've already gone over all of them. Tusken! Oh, I could raise up Tusken Warrior. So, Tusken Shaman's been Gear 12 for quite a while. As I mentioned, I made him Gear 12 for the Sith Raid. The only reason he has the cybernetics is because at one point, I had like 5 of them. And nobody needed them. So, because I had so many spare, that's why I gave him the cybernetics. I mean, the health med pack would have been much more useful, but I had people ahead of him in line. And then the other 2 Tusken, Raider and ran them up for their Galactic Legends. I wouldn't mind doing Chieftain and Warrior. I mean, a 5 Tusken team could be kind of neat for GAC, but I can't farm them right now, and I don't want to learn the kits. So they're just going to kind of sit there. And Ufus. Wow, look at that. We're almost done. There's not too much going on here. I mean, Starkiller's been 7 forever. Visas was one of my first... Yeah. She was one of my first relics. I think it was... I think it was Wampa, General Grievous, and then Visas. Yeah. How about that? I do dumb things. She was one of my first relics. She was relic 2 or 3 for the longest time. Running her up to 5 for Starkiller was no sweat. I'd like to run up Fulcrum, but priorities. I remember buying her out of the shard shop. Yeah, there's a while that you could buy characters out of the shard shop. They'd have a deal, you know, kind of like the weekly shipments are now. They'd have a deal, and it was a, you know, whichever character they decide to make it, and you can spend a few thousand and get 10 shards or 15 shards or 5 shards. I was kind of upset when they got rid of it because it was a great way to get she was a weird event type character. I don't remember what it was. Her introduction, it wasn't a marquee. Yeah, she's still a weird character. Look at this. You can't farm her. You can only get her out of packs and shipments. Is this weekly shipments or is this the generic store? Featured shipment. Okay. Oh, I need to do those purchases. Yeah, that's weird. Go back down to foods. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. So, yeah, if you're new at this, yeah, you're probably wondering what the deal with Fulcrum is. But yeah, I got her without Yeah, I don't remember how they introduced her. It wasn't a marquee event. And it wasn't the tournament. That's how Baze and Shore Trooper were introduced, was through the tournament, which was kind of like the prequel to GAC. You only used one team for defense and one team for offense or something like that. And basically, if you think there's cheating in GAC, you ain't seen nothing, kid. Tournament, that's why they stopped doing tournament, was because it was rife with cheating. And to do anything, you were using ally points. It was a way to burn off ally points, because there wasn't a shop where you could spend them. The only way you could use ally points was bronziums and tournaments. And like I said, they were rife with cheating. It was really bad. But she wasn't the tournament, and she wasn't a marquee, because they hadn't really formalized marquee events yet. So it might have just been... It wasn't a Galactic Chase. I think it was just, we've introduced this character, you can buy her in the shard shop. And so you just spent shard currency buying her shards. I think that's how it was. I honestly don't remember. I wonder what she unlocks at. I don't know, but... Man, getting her's gotta really suck. I think she's in a Galactic Bounty. I think there's a Galactic Bounty where you can get her, but those didn't exist either. I don't know. Anyway, I would like to run her up more, but priorities. I've always liked the character. Ever since she was introduced, I liked using her, but... And then we got Kirajunda, who I ranted about. Oh. I left Cal at level 1. I'm not planning on doing much with him, but I'll run him up for the guild. Because GP bloat doesn't much matter. And this is all just crap I can afford to spend. So it's not like it's hurting me. Yeah, all those are fine. I don't have a complete... Yeah, I don't have a Chirotech, so it's not like I'm going to accidentally give him a Chirotech or something. Yeah, I'm not giving you a stun gun. Cuffs, sure, I got a ton of cuffs. And no, I'm still not giving you a stun gun. I don't fully get his kit, but... What is this? Oh, yeah, sure, why not? And we'll run you up. Yeah, I also have no idea how to mod him. Health recovery. Sure, why not? Yeah, your support. Yeah, I think the one that he's used to unlock is probably the attacker. Let's see, you do debuffs. Yeah, that stun's not bad, but I'm not giving him a Zeta. Although I gave Chris Rock a Zeta. I think I gave him 2 Zetas. What was I smoking? Evasion down, speed down, tenacity down. Turn meter. Yeah, okay. I say, Jolie is where they started having fun with the skill titles sometimes. That's a good one to have, but that can wait. Alright, so he is support. Oh, that smock was awful. I hated that smock. Spell debuffs and heal. Ooh, accuracy up. Debuffs. Okay, I think we're going to give him a potency kit. There's two reasons we're doing it. One is just so if I'm desperate enough that I'm pulling him out to use, he's not completely pointless. And also... wow. Okay. Tenacity. Alright, you can have the mismatch. Oh, that has no speed. Oh, it's worthless. Eight speed, sure. Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter at this point. We're just... I mean, it's not like he's going to keep these. Yeah, that's garbage. Okay. 196, not too bad. I mean, I remember when that was super fast. Breaking 200 was when you were sitting pretty. Now you got to break 300 to matter. What is this potency? 60%. Jeez, 6% base potency. Christ. Alright, there's Cal. So that's another 10,000 galactic power into... for my deploys. So that's not too bad. I'm not sure why I gave her the Zetas. I probably didn't need to, but whatever. Alright, that's that. Really quick ships. And I mean really quick. So TIE Defender is farmable. We're going to be farming TIE Defender. Star Fortress is going to wait until I finish TIE Defender, because TIE Defender is far more important. Nothing much has changed on any of these other ships. We're getting close on Scythe, but who cares, because I don't have the Grand Inquisitor. Look at all these capital ships that we have. We don't have anywhere near enough starfighters. Profundity is not going to go up anytime soon. Neither is Executor. I would like to get Profundity up to 5 or even 6 stars, but that is going to take time. So it's going to have to wait. And everybody else has probably not changed in the slightest. Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, whatever. I got a ton of those. Grand All Ally. More critical chance. Yeah, whatever. For the most part, none of my ships have changed because they're pretty much all maxed out, except for apparently Scimitar. There was something that I finished farming. Moldy Crow. Yeah, Raven's Claw. I finished farming Raven's Claw probably a couple weeks ago. I might have mentioned it, but I might not have, because by and large, nobody cares. So there, all of my ships, except for Jedi Consular Starfighter, have all of their abilities and stuff maxed out, because I believe all of my pilots are at least Gear 11 on every ship, which is probably why Karth is Gear 11, because otherwise it wouldn't be worth it, because Karth sucks. And unfortunately, while Karth sucks, his ship is really, really, really good. I wouldn't mind running both of those up, because that ship is really damn good. But yeah, that's also why I ran Rey up to Gear 11, finally, was for her ship. And that's why these two Chowderheads are Gear 11, is so you can max out their ship. Max out their crew abilities. You have to have a Gear 11 pilot. And that's it. So, oh, well, I guess I need to run you up to Gear 11 for your stupid ship, but that's not happening. Nobody cares about the Resistance X-Wing. Nobody cares about Jedi Consular Starfighter. And, you know, the thing is, CG, we desperately need Starfighters. You could do more of these types of ships. You know, these basically generic ships for semi-generic characters. Like, we need Actually, we're almost done on Empire, but we could use a couple more Empire ships. So we could have... Well, it wouldn't make sense for either of these two because they were Army. General Veers was the biggest proponent of the AT-AT Walker. But you could have Director Krennic's shuttle. Or Magma Trooper's lava skipper. You know, you can just make shit up. Snow Troopers, whatever. You could, I mean, Ninth Sister had her own ship. You could give her a ship. You could give, well, what's her name already has one. But I mean, you know, you could do more ships there. Rebels, we may need more. I don't know. But, you know, you could do Red 5. Hint. Hint. You give Leia a ship. You give Lando a ship. You could do another Millennium Falcon with Lando. And finally give us Neonub. Where's Neonub, man? I want Neonub. We also need... I think we need a Resistance ship, but... You know, they've doubled so many up. And... They put Rose Tico on the bomber. Alright. She wasn't there, but okay. You know, we also need, well, we need 2 more bounty hunter ships to fill out Executor. There's plenty of bounty hunter ships you can add. We need Galactic Republic is where we've got the crying need. We need a lot of Galactic Republic ships. We need 6. We need 6 Galactic Republic ships. So, Padme could get a ship. GK can't because he's got a capital ship. You give Yoda that little pod ship that he had. Kiadamundi, I think he had a ship. You can give him a ship. Even if it's just kind of a Plo Koon one. You could give Qui-Gon Jinn that super sleek silvery ship that was in Phantom Menace, or you could give it to Padme, or since you love doing it so much, you could have both of them be the pilot. You could give Cup a police cruiser. You know, you give Clone Wars Chewie a weird little pod ship thing. Shakti had a ship. Oh, no, she didn't. She was at the cloning facility. But, I mean, we need a lot more. You know, you could give the Bad Batch. I'm sure Bad Batch had a ship. You give them a couple ships. You give Ayla a ship. I mean, she got to that desert planet somehow. But, whatever. But I've ranted long enough. That is the full roster. Gone through it from top to bottom, and good lord, there is a lot. And that's what you get for many, many years of play. I came in before mods, but after protection, for those of you keeping score. So there is the whole roster. I remember when the thing you did was you counted how many relic characters you had. You know, I remember watching Mandalore, and you know, he was at like 9 or 10 relic characters, and I was at 1. And now I quite possibly have more relic characters than unrelic characters. I don't think I'm quite that far, but I might be close. That is a lot of relics. So, taking a look at speed very quickly before we go. Plus 166. Plus 156. That's a bit of a drop off. Plus 165. Whoops. Plus 146. plus 156. Got a lot of good speeds. The fact that I got Cara Dune that high. Dash that low. And just to close off, good old TIE fighter pilot. 335. Have a good one.